Welcome to Exclusive Interviews. My name is Erica Ndoro. Exclusively hanging out with Julian King, and lovely to have you back around. How does it feel to be back?
It feels amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely lovely. Let's talk about you coming back home after a long time. What does that feel like? Not only coming back as, the popping Julian King, but just being home.
Right. So it's been amazing. The contrast is crazy. When I left the country, it was just me and a backpack and my brother walking me to the airport, to coming back with a couple of bags and a country waiting for me, and dancers and everything and the whole bunch. So it was really a crazy moment. And then seeing my mom for the first time in 6 years, and her tears and everything, and seeing my family, everything was just amazing.
When you left, you mentioned that, it was just you hopping and hoping for a better, life and everything. Did you plan on working on your music this much? Did you think you were going to come back and you're going to be this big?
Well, great question. I don't think I had an image of what big would look like, right? But to show you that I was thinking forward, like one of the things that I did get on the plane with was a guitar. Like right before I left, I bought a secondhand guitar because I knew, music is something I loved, and I wanted to be able to, to continue doing that when I got to the US. And I knew that I was going to be able to have some resources at my disposal that I didn't have initially while I was here. So did I know I would be here right now? I mean, kinda, but not really.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, when you own something, you don't, don't be humble. Share with us the excitement, because it's just equally proud of you as
Right,
much as
thank
you must be of yourself.
Appreciate it.
Your first song that you made and said, I'm going to send this back home, and Mwari, please, I hope this pops, or who did you send it to, and get a song EP? What were you looking forward to with that song?
So my creative journey actually started with me doing a lot of covers and doing music as social media content. So at one point I did a freestyle, and it was called Muchaji Rega. And I just posted my video and went to bed. And when I woke up the next day, I woke up to a couple of messages from different DJs, from different radio stations, saying, hey, we want that recording that is on your Instagram. Do you have an audio of it? And whatever. So that was my first time experiencing virality on radio, right? But before that, I've done a cover for No Longer Slaves. It's a Christian contemporary song, and it went pretty big as well on Facebook and all that. So, yeah.
And when you get into a space that is not home, and you're trying to do something that is still relatable, what is that like? How do you keep up with what's hot here to know which sound we are moving with?
Right.
Record it over there and still have us receive that.
Yes. For me, the best point of contact has always been social media.
Yeah.
Right. So I really, hone in onto that, and then see what people are posting, see what people are talking about, and even get their language. And I've even had this conversation with other artists, when we were talking about just the disadvantages we have, as artists. And one of the things I raised about myself was I just don't have that local touch.
Yeah.
Right. It takes a little bit more for me to be relevant. However, you'd be surprised how we are pretty much all living the same lives. So if I'm true to myself, and if I'm real about what I'm saying, people are gonna relate out there. So that's how that's been happening. Yeah.
The one song that, if you have one, do you have that one song when you hear it, like, hey, but you're not okay with it? Maybe there's a line you regret, there's a sound pitch that you didn't like, but you're just like, it's okay. But
looking back at it, I would probably give Muchaji Rega as the same example, because I was just fooling around, I was just fooling around, and so it's one of those where, okay, fine, I need the attention. If I'm getting it, I might as well benefit from it. But hey, guys, I have so much more to offer than this. I have way more deeper messages. I have way more range and versatility to offer. But yeah, that would be it.
Let's talk about a message. What do you want to be known for? I mean, when you're singing out songs, we have to put you along with a certain message. What do you want to be known for?
I want to be known for
scratch that. What message do you want us to know you for? We want to be known for, we can know you for your good style. But the
Right.
kind of message you want to send out with your music, say maybe 50 years from now, you listen to it and you're like, oh, do you remember?
Right. I want that to be realness around life, love, and faith. So our life experiences, every occasion. I want to have a song that you can play on your birthday, a song you can play on your funeral, a song you can play on your honeymoon.
Yeah.
In terms of faith, I try to be real about my relationship and pursuit of God, or what I feel, or how I feel at the moment, or at any given point in time. And then just love, falling in love, falling out of love, working stuff out, trying to improve relationships or things that happen that go wrong in relationships. So life, love, faith.
Talk about religion and all those things, we get people that are very touchy and personal with their certain message, You did have a little bit of flashback when people said that you took a gospel song and had a same rhythmical element in another song. Did you do that on purpose? And did you think it was, I don't think it matters. I think you can make rhythm out of anything. But what was that like for you, having that kind of flashback?
So it's never that bad in my opinion, right? Creatively, really, because I am not like someone who is visiting from a different kingdom, who is taking advantage of something that belongs to a different kingdom. You know what I mean? As a child of God myself, creatively, I know no bounds. So if I'm inspired by a song that I grew up singing in church, that's probably somebody's favorite thing about the song. The fact that it starts off with something they know and can relate to. That's what they love about it. So unfortunately, you can't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
But, life has to go on.
And how do you sit with the fact that you can't make everyone happy and you're in the public eye? Are there things that you kind of hold back because you are scared to tap into a certain space? If I do this dance, or it is certain groups have got bigger lashback.
Right. I think one of the things I'm also known for is my not holding back. And to support that, I used to do a lot of random videos on social media where I would just talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So, and because of that, there's a certain demographic and a group of people that might not even know I sing at all.
Yeah.
Right? They know me for like motivational stuff, or like, oh, these funny relationship videos or whatever. So in terms of expression, I'm very versatile and I put it out there. That's some of what I'm known for, actually.
Absolutely lovely. Let's talk about your a bit about your love life. Would hate to have it on
A
tape.
deep dive.
Yeah, but what is it like? As a man in the industry and trying to maintain a relationship, a reassurance. Because I get you see the love, babe, but we cool.
Yeah. It comes with its challenges. Okay. I think the first things I realized a little bit late was my story is not a typical Zimbabwean man's story.
Yeah.
Right. So there are a lot of things that would happen to me that a lot of guys can't relate to. Like girls coming to my DMs. I think the craziest one I had was this South African lady that offered me $20,000 to have a baby with her.
Don't say you said no.
Unfortunately,
Come
I
on,
did.
we got to think of it as a contribution to society.
And I kind of regret it, but hey, wherever you are, if you can hear me.
Try again.
But yeah, that would probably be the craziest. But yeah, it took me a while to realize that. And I think it's mostly because of being brought up to be humble, right? What that does, even though it's a good thing, you then take a while to really take charge of your identity, as whoever, as whatever you're trying to be. So it took me a while. So it used to fascinate me at first. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, this girl said this. And maybe I'm thinking of screenshotting it and putting it somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, it took people to sit down with me and be like, yo, you're Julian.
Relax.
It's not, and I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So yeah.
We like that. We're going to be tapping more into that. It is exclusive interviews. We will be right back. Please do not go anywhere. Welcome back to it. It is exclusive interviews. We're talking to Julian King, tapping into his life exclusively, finding your foot in the music space now. So you come through, like you said, you pop viral, you got a hit song, that's number one. I always think that the hardest thing to do is pizza. It's one thing I'm scared of, because it's like you gotta maintain that. So how are you finding your foot, keeping steady on the ground?
Right.
So you can't attend a lot of concerts, you can't be on a lot of stages, so we don't get to feel you as much. How are you balancing that?
It's been tough, right? I don't want to complain too much, because I know I do have certain graces afforded to me that others don't have. But it's tough because, like you said, I am competing with somebody who is on the ground, who has posters around town. People are going to see them on Saturday. If they have a song out that you probably hadn't heard of, if you go to the show, you're going to hear it, whether you want to or not, and it just adds to the movement and to the growth and everything. So for me, I've just had to use what is available to me. So that has been social media, different, blogger friends, different pages, and all of that. Unfortunately, I've never really had any controversy. I mean, that's not unfortunate, but I've never had any like controversy around my name like that, because I mean, my brand and image is not like that. But other people end up resorting to that just to try and stay relevant and all that. But I think above all, just consistently making good music helps.
Yeah, true that. So, what was your first time on stage? You mentioned you go from making videos, putting them out there. Now you've got to be in front of people.
Right.
And you've got to put up the act that they're expecting. What was that like?
So I grew up in a mega church. So when you grow up in a mega church and you lead worship, you are low key a celebrity in your community too.
Yeah.
So the stage was not a new thing to me. And even in the US, every month I have something, and I actually have a tour going on right now in the US for my album called Misunderstood. So the stage is not new to me, but my performance to the Zimbabwean audience is what was new. So so that's what led to the whole Twitter conversations of, oh my goodness, he was so good. Did you see the performance, the choreography, or what he wore?
Yeah.
Or we were so taken by surprise. And it's because people had not. I mean, they had no expectations really when you think about it, right? So they were just shocked that I delivered to the level that I did. But to me, it was just another day in the office.
Yeah. I must also add that I was one of those people like, okay, we were expecting to accept you on stage because that was
Maybe
you
like
blew
a
it.
chill.
Yeah,
something.
you really hit the ball out the park. Well done for that. A matter of fact, to go to Kadoma and do that, we are really well done for that.
Right.
But when it comes to collaboration, what is it like for you? Take us through the process, because I hope once again.
Right.
And are you sending a piece here, then it gets mastered, more jailer? Yeah, take us through it.
Yeah. So the first thing is, artists have to take you seriously, and that comes from how seriously you take your stuff, and the level of quality and excellence they see in what you do. So that's the first step. And then the second step, I want to admit that for every collaboration I've had, I've never created it thinking I want it to be a collab. Every collab I've had to remove my second verse so that we can create space for the other artist.
I like that.
And unless we were in the studio together, while that was happening, which is the case with some new songs coming out. So I'll give an example of One by One. One by One had been finished for months. I would play it for people in my car, right? I had no plans on releasing it. And then when I finally did think about releasing it, I didn't want to waste a good song, right? So in terms of how I looked for the collab, I just said, man, okay, who is somebody whose music I respect right now, whom if they would jump on the track, it would make my marketing so much easier. And so sometimes that's how I choose who to collab with. But then, yes, so I record my part I send it here, they record theirs, and we just mix it together.
I like that. Let's talk about financing the brand, the career. I would like to assume it's a lot easier, outside of Zimbabwe because by the time you've got money for studio, especially if your music is not yet out there. How are you handling that? What are you doing besides music is basically the question.
Well, firstly, it's expensive everywhere. Let's get that clear because, the expenses are the same relative to the income, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So, but for me, I'm a big advocate for education. My family, we're big on that too. So I'm an accountant by profession. I went to Africa University, and I did my MBA. So I have a professional business career that goes on alongside everything else I do. So that has been what has funded what I do so far. Yeah.
How important is education to the arts in general? If you were to speak to other artists and you're saying to them, listen, school is important. How important is it?
Yeah. I think school is very important because sometimes you can tell when people are in a room, you can kind of tell, okay, who is educated and who isn't. And sometimes, of course, and that's not to take a knock on anyone's music, right? Because being educated also doesn't necessarily translate to you being better at it, right?
Yeah.
But it does give you certain knowledge and information that, somebody who hasn't pursued any form of education might not know. So you'll be able to discuss contracts better. You know what being taken advantage of looks like. You know what marketing is, what advertising is, what brand image, and everything. And some of these things also, they're not limited to the classroom. Right? Education can be through various means. It can be through mentorship, videos on YouTube, and all of that. But yeah, education is definitely important in my opinion.
I like that you said education is not limited to the classroom.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely lovely. We're talking here to Julian King. We will be right back. Please do not go anywhere. Welcome back to today's exclusive interviews talking to Julian King. Now, moving from Seke to coming back to going to the US, and you are rebranding, you're growing, is what we are saying.
Right.
How are you giving back to the other Julians that are there? Because it's really hard to come out of a certain place and become something like this big. So how are you giving back? What do you do to make sure you're a lot more coming out and becoming whatever they want to become?
Yeah, so from, like I said, I'm a big advocate for education because it did a lot for me. So Seke is where I was born, but I was, raised by my grandparents. My dad passed away when I was very young, and I understand how education was a key to me evolving from one stage of my life to the other. So what I do is I have a foundation. It's called the Julian King Foundation. So like last year, we paid for school fees for about 10 students in Chitungwiza and one university student in South Africa. So I do that. It's self-funded. I don't have any partners or anything. And that is my way of giving back. And also with the full understanding that, like you said, I can create a giver just by giving them, and helping them through their educational journey or anything like that. So that is what I'm doing. And then in terms of helping, just people with artistic, dreams and visions and all that, just being true to myself. And I do get a lot of DMs. I'm actually known for being the guy that might potentially post your song if it's new, because I just feel like it doesn't take anything away from me, right? So if somebody has a new song and they post it and they tag me, 9 times out of 10, I will repost it to my story because I don't lose anything from it.
Support is a big thing. What do you think? What do you make of the support culture that we have, or maybe not have in your view, in Zimbabwe? I asked that because you show your support by just reposting someone's
Right.
song. What do you think of what we have in general as Zimbabwe?
There's obviously work to be done, right? And sometimes I do understand people's reservations, and sometimes it stems from the work that they themselves put and the frustration around their growth. So you obviously don't want to easily give that away. And that's not to say I didn't struggle or I didn't have challenges, but people are just different, right?
Yeah.
We can't really hold everybody to the same standard. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have to just go to a person who can help you and stop bothering the person who
Correct, yeah.
who's not interested in moving that way. And then sometimes I help you with a repost. Maybe somebody else will help you in a different way. To me, it's just my way of saying, okay, to me, visibility is the most important thing. So if it's a repost, then that's the best thing I can do for you because social media is my main thing, right? But other people have different means, but there's room for growth. We could support each other better for sure. And yeah, that's what I think.
Radio for a very long time
Yep.
and television were the best ways to propel your music.
Yeah.
Now we've got YouTube. I think TikTok right now is the best platform to push
Right.
any content.
Right.
That's me. What do you make of how obsolete our mainstream media is becoming, and what do you think can be done to change that, if and
Right.
which should be changed?
Yes, and that's a great question, and I love that conversation because I'm actually one of the people who strongly believe that radio and TV have not lost their power at all, right? If you think about it in terms of just coverage and how many people get to click in and lock in at the same time, and all that, and just the importance of what it is. Radio and TV, they have not lost their power. And to save them, quote unquote, I would say, for the content to be digestible on a phone, because that is where people spend most of their times
Yeah.
at now, so as long as something is digestible there, and even if it's something that is long and 30 minutes or an hour, if we have a couple of second clips that we promote on those platforms on which getting bigger numbers, is easier, like the
Yeah.
TikTok you've mentioned, everything can still exist at the same time. And also, someone is not going to see a person on TikTok and think, okay, let me trust this person with my brand, or let me invite this person for a show. But if you see them on TV and if you hear them on radio, see, that has a different kind of weight to it. That has a different kind of value to it. So radio and TV, they will always have the power. And I think the people in radio and TV maybe are the ones who need to be reminded that, even though it feels like there's this new girl in town and she's younger or dresses better, you're still the love of my life, kind of thing.
We like that, don't we? Let's talk about management. How important is management for an artist? How are you handling it? How do you advise, or do you think certain artists must pick management? I've seen it kill a lot of artists. I've seen it build a lot of brands. But what do you make of that? And how do you do it?
I think choosing a manager is just about as important as choosing a life partner.
Yeah.
If I may put it that way, because like you said, this can be a make or break of your entire identity, of your brand, of your vision and your goals. And then what sucks is sometimes it happens unknowingly, right?
Yeah.
Somebody is in your corner, they're your team, they're supposed to be supportive, but then they can say something and they think they're helping you, and it just kills your creativity, for good. And then the spaces are also difficult to maneuver because, like any other relationship, it comes with the challenges that relationships come with. Sometimes communication, sometimes what a manager thinks is best, you don't necessarily agree. So now you have to have a good conversation and talk about it and come to some form of a middle ground and see, okay, how do we cater for what you're saying and what I'm saying to come up with something. And then we also have instances of managers who then become the main thing. You know, it's no longer about the artist at a certain point. Now it's about them, and you know that happens too. And then sometimes you have, because the manager works for the artist, and not vice versa,
Well,
right? So sometimes then that is diluted too. In my experience, then personally, I I have not had an actual manager ever since I started, because I had to do a lot of the things that a team and management do on my own, right? But I have had good industry friends who have been consistent since day one, right? So those always come in with the advice, those always come in with the strategy. And when I'm trying to think about something to say, hey, I'm wrestling with this. How do I approach it? You know, this is where amazing people like Diana come in and Mufaro comes in. You know, they pretty much just come in clutch all the time, you know, and whenever I need help, whatever help I need, whatever contact I need, you know, they're always there and they make it happen. And it's been a beautiful relationship. It's been amazing, and it works. And also it's difficult for me because I'm in the US, remember? So I would need to have a manager that has footing in both spaces, you know. And if you had asked me, this is something I wouldn't have figured out. But, you know, this is something probably Diana mentioned to me one day and said, hey, so for what you're trying to do, this is what you need, you know. So it's very important. It's very necessary, but it has to be done really well.
We have you here. How long are you around for? What should we look forward to musically? Are we going to see you on some more stages before we let you go?
Yes, I'm hitting a couple of stages this weekend. We have a couple of events that we've been invited to, a couple of clubs too. And then we're going back to Kadoma on Sunday. And then I'm shooting a couple of videos. I did a couple of collabs with artists that are local, and I'm looking forward to that as well. So a lot of videos and a lot of live performances, and then I leave right after this weekend.
That's absolutely lovely. It's been nice getting exclusive with you. I hope to see you, you know, reach the pinnacles that you plan to reach.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely lovely. We've been speaking here to Julian King. I do hope that you did enjoy tapping into his space and being a fly on the wall. It is exclusive interviews. Until next time, my name is Erica Ndoro. Please have a good one.